let's quickly take this experience from offline to online, right, Mark? So how can teams, how can the leagues, and I know there's certain things, the teams can't control and certain things the leagues can't control, but how what would you recommend to teams in terms of how can you recreate those types of engaging experiences online? I know we talked a little bit about that second device, and those white space moments. Did anything really speak to you from some of the insights we presented, or anything that you want to add to creating those engaging moments through that second device or online?
I thought the WNBA case study was a perfect example because, again, if you boil it down, it's all about interacting with the fan at home on that second device, right? So that could be it could be any type of interaction, right? It doesn't have to be around specifically what they did, but it's the idea of interaction. And I talk about this all the time. In fact, I made some notes as you were going through. I always come back to the idea of how do you create the television experience more interactive. Go back 10 years, which and I hate to bring up an old example, but go back to American Idol, right? And that's probably been around for more than 10 years. But all of a sudden, fans at home could vote, right? They could vote. And at the time, it was like, wow. Well, why can't sports television, sports programming create that kind of interaction as we saw with the WNBA? And it doesn't have to be around voting, where the fan, the Gen Z fan at their home or wherever they are with that mobile device, now is all of a sudden interacting with the telecast in one way or another. So it's gamification, it's interaction. As you talked about earlier, of course, sports wagering in states where it's legal plays a huge role in this. In my latest qualitative research, 25 interviews with 25 Gen Zers who are of legal gambling age, I think all 25 said, gambling now is keeping me tuned in for the entire telecast because even if I'm only placing a few dollars, I now have a stake in this game, even if it's a game with two teams I don't even care about or I'm not a fan of. So obviously that's another whole piece of this puzzle that you talked about. But again, when we look at that, it's all about interacting with the telecast, interacting with the game. In this case, they're doing it through wagering.